So let's dive into a really big idea for our incredibly complex world. We're talking about the Coherence Manifesto. And we're going to explore how we can find our purpose again, how we can find a clear direction, especially when it feels like AI and just constant change are completely overwhelming us.
You know that feeling, right? That transformation fatigue. It's the endless stream of new projects, the constant reorganizing, that gnawing sense that you're running as fast as you can, but not actually getting anywhere. Well, the idea here is that this feeling isn't you failing. No, it's a critical signal, a warning light on the dashboard, telling us that our whole approach to change is fundamentally broken.
And the source material for this explainer, the Coherence Manifesto, it really doesn't pull any punches. For decades, we've been chasing progress with the same old tools, strategy decks, isolated digital projects. But here's the thing. The world is just moving way too fast for those tools to keep up anymore. It's time for a major evolution in how we think and how we organize ourselves. Okay, so if our tools are obsolete, what's the actual problem? You might think it's complexity itself, or maybe AI is the big scary monster. But the manifesto argues that the real opponent, well, it's a lot closer to home. And that brings us to this first big idea, the real foe. And honestly, who said it better than Albert Einstein? This quote just hits the nail on the head. The problem isn't what's happening out there in the world. It's the outdated thinking in here. Our own perspective has become the single biggest roadblock to moving forward. So let's give this foe a name. The manifesto calls it the old mind. And look, this isn't about age or being old-fashioned. It's a very specific mindset. It's that default programming in our heads that clings to control instead of fostering connection, that prefers mindlessly following a ritual instead of taking a moment for genuine reflection, and that prizes speed above all else, even if we're sprinting in the completely wrong direction. And you can see the conflict right here. When faced with a complex world, the old mind tries to dumb it down, to oversimplify. The new mind, on the other hand, synthesizes. It brings things together. The old mind puts problems in little boxes. It isolates them. The new mind integrates them, seeing the bigger picture. But the biggest battle of all? The old mind is obsessed with control, while the new mind understands that the real power is in connection. So, if the old mind is the problem we're fighting, what's the solution? What's our way out? Well, that brings us right to our next section, the power of coherence. Now, this right here is the absolute heart of the entire manifesto, coherence. It's defined as the aligned movement of three huge forces: our strategy, the world's complexity, and our intelligence. And the key word is aligned. It's not about forcing everything into a straight line. It's about getting them to dance together, to move as one single purposeful system that is always learning, always adapting, always in harmony. Let's break that down, because it's a big idea. Coherence really stands on three main pillars. First up is strategy. That's the human part, the spark, the ambition, the why. Why are we even doing this? Second, you've got complexity, but we're not treating it as an enemy anymore. It's the system we live in, the reality we have to understand. And third, there's intelligence. This is what we get from AI and data, the insights that help us navigate all that complexity. And this is a really huge mental shift. For so long, we've treated complexity like a disease we need to cure, a problem we have to solve. But the manifesto argues that complexity was never our enemy at all. It was our teacher. The goal isn't to pretend the world is simple. It's to make it understandable, to turn all that overwhelming noise into real, actionable insight. Okay, so this sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? The main tool for achieving coherence is something called a digital twin of an organization. Now, forget everything you know about static dashboards and reports. I want you to imagine a living, breathing, real-time map of your entire organization, one that shows you how every single project, every team, and every decision connects to everything else. It's not just data. It's a living model that turns all that scattered information into one single coherent picture that actually learns and grows right along with you. Of course, you can't have this conversation today without talking about the elephant in the room, artificial intelligence. So where does AI fit into this new world of coherence? Let's take a look at AI's proper place at the table. And this is absolutely crucial. AI is not the king here. It's not the boss of transformation. Instead, think of it as the missing teammate we've been waiting for. At this new roundtable of progress, AI's seat is right there beside human intent and human design as an equal partner. Its real power isn't to replace us, but to amplify our ability to design and to think. That's why the manifesto says the new revolution isn't about automation, it's about cognition. It's about thinking better together. All right, let's zoom out for a second. This shift from control to coherence, it's not just some new business fad. The manifesto frames it as something way, way bigger. And that brings us to our final section, humanity's next transformation. Just think for a moment about the legacy of the old mind. For centuries, whenever it was faced with something complex, its gut instinct was to build silos, create departments, and draw up divisions. Its whole strategy was to separate things to try and control them. The old mind built walls. So what does the new mind do? In stark contrast, the new mind builds mirrors. It uses incredible technology like digital twins and AI not to divide us, but to reflect our own reality back at us in a way we can finally understand. It lets us see the whole system, all the hidden connections, and exactly where we fit inside of it. And that is the evolution, right there in a nutshell. It's a huge leap from just having visibility into what's happening to having genuine foresight about what's going to happen. We are moving away from that constant, exhausting struggle for control and into a state of purposeful, powerful coherence. And so the manifesto leaves us with this simple, powerful call to action. 3 steps. Build it. Define your ambition, your why. Twin it. Create that living model to understand your true complexity. And finally, live it. Embrace this new state of continuous learning and evolution. So, at the end of the day, the fundamental choice is crystal clear. Are we going to cling to the old ways of control, or are we going to evolve toward coherence? Which leaves just one question for all of us to think about. Are you ready?